looking at all this metaverse and thinking how as the architects and the urban design profession would actually be able to partake in the development of metaverse. And this has been in my thought for quite a while, and I also believe that the immersion of oneself into the metaverse will actually facilitates the design and the process and create better buildings and structures for human beings. So I've searched the net for some times, and as I was doing that, eventually I found someone who has already done something in the metaverse, and I'm glad that today I've invited him to my show, and we like to hear from him how he get into the metaverse. Well, he's none other than Mark Ong, right? So Mark Ong, can you tell us something about yourself?
So, hi, my name is Mark. I'm Vice President of Strategic Development at RSP Architects. And today we're talking about RSP Meta, which is a new department we formed to do metaverse design and exploration for both buildings and urban design in the metaverse space.
Right. Mark Ong is trained in architecture, did many projects, big and small. The only question I have is, the profession, very few people have gone into metaverse. So I was wondering, how did he get involved with metaverse? So can you please tell us, Mark?
Yeah, so it actually started in early 2020. We actually started this exercise as a way for us to find homes for a lot of the digital IP that we had done before, whether it's for competitions or, maybe designs that didn't quite make the cut to be built. We wanted to find a place to implement a lot of these. And with the advent of, the metaverse space, we found that it was a great way for us to bring a lot of these buildings to life and utilize a lot of the great ideas we had. And then from there, we spun off and looked for clients within the metaverse space, and we were fortunate enough to find a client who was very invested in the NFT and metaverse space arena, and he commissioned us to build a NFT art gallery for him. So that was our very first project.
So there is a special purpose to find and monetize the assets that you don't want to allow it to go into waste. That's a good thought, right? But the other question I would ask, how did you convince your top management that this is the way that you could monetize, this is the way you could conserve, this is the way that you can show people the architecture ideas and concept that is kept in the drawers perhaps? Maybe you can explain to us.
I think to the credit of the management team at RSP, they've been very supportive from day one. And I think we were really looking to find avenues to create new revenue within the company, especially in 2020 with the onset of the pandemic. We really didn't want to say no to anything. And we felt that this was such a great opportunity for architects to find value in a lot of the work that we've done. So they were very, very supportive from day one. Although I will admit sometimes for senior members, they might not have fully understood the culture or the technology behind it. We really took a learning curve together to learn more and explore it together. So management team's support has been very, very crucial to us building this department.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you have such great support from the top management, and also the fact that they are willing to learn. That is really a plus point. Now, since your involvement with Metaverse, obviously you would find some differences between real-life project and non-real-life project. At the same time, the other question I have is, what can architects and urban designer value add to this whole concept of designing in the Metaverse? Surely we do have some real value, right?
Yeah. Sure, that's a very interesting question. Typically when we work on bigger projects in the real world, it tends to work back to front. So the developers will come to us with spatial requirements, certain areas that they want to hit. If it's a hotel, the number of keys they want, or if it's a mall, the number of tenancy or shop that they want. And then we work backwards from that. And we really try and kind of inject a sense of design and aspiration to create buildings, so we would work backwards, work on budget, work on the structure, work on the authorities, and then try and create a product that was the best it could be from that. But with the Metaverse World, it's kind of been a 180 of that, a complete shift in expectation. So we tend to find clients who will ask us, what do you want to do, or what can you create inside? And so it sort of forced us out of our comfort zone. We've had to value create and come up with the ideas and concepts in terms of what the space will do. And that's been really, really interesting for the team. So some examples of that would be, we want to create a gallery, or we want to create a social space, and this is the function that would happen there. And we'd sell that to the developer, and upon liking it, then they'd commission us to build it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I definitely feel that currently in the metaverse space, there are a lot of very talented young individuals building spaces inside. So you look at very, very beautiful forms, very, very beautiful and interesting things inside. But I would say that our advantage as architects would be more holistic. We're trained to think on a multidisciplinary level and think about different levels of engagement with the building. So I'd like to say that we bring, an angle to the metaverse that goes beyond just creating shells of a building to actual places that people want to engage with and enter. And it gives us a good sense of space and hierarchy, and really affects the way the users feel when they interact with the spaces we create. So I think that's one of the best edges we bring to the metaverse. Yeah, well, I think that's a very big question, and I think a lot of people smarter than me have already started to think about it and have great ideas beyond it. But for me, I think the metaverse space will represent a shift in our community, in our world, where we can better engage with the digital world in a more immersive and 3D way. So just very much so, like with the internet, we can access a global network of information. I see the metaverse as being a 3D, a virtual environment where we can kind of engage with at any time very conveniently, and it allows us to access more information, more experiences, and more connections to the world around us in ways that might be even better or more realistic than life itself. So for example, some examples of I see as avenues for exploration is, how can we use the metaverse to expand education to areas of the world that are developing, or areas of the world that don't have access to schools. The metaverse I see would be a new 3D environment where a child would be able to attend a school, enjoy the curriculum, but also feel like they're not missing out on it by looking at it through a TV screen, but actually feeling like they're there in person. So I see the metaverse as a growing organism that will encapsulate more and more industries, and really enhance the way we live our lives, the way we work, the way we play, the way we socialize, and the way we relate to one another. It will be strongly, empowered by the metaverse. Yeah, no, I think that's something probably I haven't thought about a lot, but I would say that as with anything in this world, keeping up with technology is really, really important, and understanding the medium. But the way I also see it is, if you're a young student and you're learning and want to get involved, just enhancing your skills as a designer and enhancing your thoughts or creativity that can be brought to the space is definitely something worth doing. But I also see, there's so many tools online now. It's so easy to, just jump on YouTube or jump online to learn a new skill set. So I definitely advocate, picking up new skill sets, learning how to model, learning how to animate. These skill sets will definitely be useful to you with or without the metaverse. But with the metaverse itself being a thing, there'll definitely be avenues for you to engage with this wider world if you come prepared and you have a whole bunch of new skill sets to engage with the metaverse. Right. Well, I mean, we haven't thought as far as to create an academy for it. I think definitely where we stand at this stage is we're trying to build the expertise in-house and build a team that is more competent at creating these spaces. But I wouldn't rule it out, for us to really explore different mediums of creation within the space. But I guess at our core business, we're still a design firm. We're trying to create for end users, but I definitely see a lot of benefit to the different avenues of content creation. Well, it's definitely something that has been at the tip of our minds. We've really thought about creating our own world for creation, but I think the real impetus for us to do it would be to have a strong function behind it. It'd have to have a reason for people to enter, for developers to utilize it. I wouldn't rule it out altogether. It's definitely something that we've tested in our mind and tested it with ideas. But we are, in a way, trying to still create value in other metaverses. So for example, recently we've become one of the only large architecture firms to be registered with Sandbox. So with our registration in Sandbox, that gives us a few rights as creators for hire, and that would be to create custom NFTs for people to use. And we see that as a really interesting opportunity to create IP for people in a world that's already established, right? So we could create building modules, we can create assets that could be linked together to create a city or a huge building. We see that as enabling people to create architecture, without even needing architects. So we are looking into methods of prefabrication and content creation. But to answer your question about creating a wider world, that would be my personal aspiration in the mid to long future. But I will admit that we probably have a bit more ways to go in terms of learning and finding that right niche for people to really enter and engage the metaverse. But so it's not a hard no, it's a maybe. But I definitely see more and more worlds coming up. Yeah, sure. I'm glad you asked. So you can find us on our website, rsp.sg, and from there you can get contact details. You can reach out and find me. My name is Mark, right? That's one way. Another way is for you to write us an email or to even find us on Instagram. We're at RSP, so you can find us there. And we're very, very happy to explore any digital solutions that people might want to do in metaverses.